In the dazzling world of international stardom, few names shine as brightly as Yaman. The Turkish heartthrob has carved out a place for himself not only in his homeland but also across Europe, the Middle East, and even in far corners of the world where Turkish dramas have become a cultural phenomenon. His rise has been nothing short of meteoric, a journey filled with relentless ambition, undeniable talent, and an aura of mystery that keeps his fans endlessly fascinated. But recently, whispers have grown louder, rumors suggesting that at a glamorous gala event, an unexpected revelation shook everyone present. Someone, a world-famous star in her own right, is said to have harbored a secret love for Yaman, and for the first time, that secret may have slipped into the open. The allure of this story lies not only in its romantic undertones but also in the collision of two different universes. Yaman represents the proud, passionate, and charismatic energy of Turkish cinema and television. The mysterious star in question comes from another corner of global entertainment, bringing her own fame, power, and fan base into the spotlight. Together, the idea of them as a pair feels almost too magnetic, too cinematic, to be true. And yet, those who witnessed the gala that night insist there was something unmistakable, something in the way she looked at him, something in the way he acknowledged her presence, a spark that couldn't be hidden. But before delving into that night, it's essential to understand the myth of Yaman himself. Born in Istanbul, Ken was not destined for the screen at first. With a background in law, his career could have been one of suits, contracts, and courtrooms. Yet, his charisma was far too commanding to remain hidden behind legal documents. He transitioned into acting, and from the very beginning, his intense gaze and physical presence captured hearts. Shows like Erkenci Kuş made him a household name, and his chemistry with co-star Demet Özdemir launched a fan culture that transcended television. People weren't just watching a series, they were watching the birth of a phenomenon. As his career expanded, so too did his influence. Moving into Italy, he became a tabloid staple, often linked with glamorous women, influential producers, and social events that turned into headlines overnight. Ken was no longer just Turkey's leading man, he was a citizen of the global stage. His fluency in languages, his ability to adapt to new cultures, and his carefully crafted image made him irresistible to international audiences. And yet, with fame came a constant cloud of rumors. Was he single? Was he truly in love with anyone? Or was he simply keeping his heart guarded while the world speculated endlessly? The gala that sparked this latest round of intrigue was one of those rare nights when the glitterati of film, fashion, and music converged. Held in a grand European capital, it was an event designed to showcase the glamour of international celebrity. Stars walked the red carpet, flashes of cameras lit up the night, and fans screamed from behind barriers hoping to catch a glimpse of their idols. When Yaman arrived, the atmosphere shifted. Tall, impeccably dressed, and radiating confidence, he carried himself with the quiet dominance of someone fully aware of his magnetism. Every movement was studied by the press, every gesture immortalized by the cameras. And then she appeared, the star whose secret feelings would soon become the talk of the evening. Known for her accomplishments in film and for her radiant beauty, she has long been admired worldwide. At first, her arrival seemed ordinary by celebrity standards, a beautiful gown, a practiced smile, a wave to the cameras. But when her eyes met Ken's across the room, something unspoken hung in the air. Observers later described it as a moment suspended in time, as though the crowded hall faded away and only the two of them remained. Throughout the evening, subtle interactions fueled speculation. She gravitated toward his side, perhaps under the guise of casual conversation, but those watching closely noticed the warmth in her expression whenever she addressed him. At one point, laughter erupted between them, the kind of genuine laughter that breaks through the polished veneer of celebrity life. Those seated nearby whispered that her hand lingered on his arm a second too long, that his smile softened in a way rarely seen in public. These were not the actions of mere acquaintances, there was a history, or at least a deep admiration, etched into their every exchange. As word spread across the gala, journalists and insiders began piecing together what they had seen. Could it be that this global star had long harbored affection for Yaman? Had she finally allowed her emotions to slip into the public eye? The speculation grew louder when she was later spotted glancing toward him during a speech, her expression unmistakably tender. To those who believe in reading body language, it was confirmation enough. This was not just admiration, it was something deeper, something more vulnerable. For Can, such attention is hardly new. His career has been a carousel of rumored romances, some confirmed, others fabricated by tabloids hungry for clicks. But what makes this particular revelation different is the stature of the woman involved. She is not just another name in the gossip columns, she is a force in her own industry, a woman whose career achievements command respect. For her to be linked to Ken in such a way adds gravity to the whispers. It's not a passing fling suggested by rumor, it's a connection that, if true, could become one of the most powerful celebrity pairings in recent memory. But the question remains, what does Yaman himself feel? Observers at the gala noted his usual poise, but they also detected moments where his guard seemed to drop. When she spoke, his attention sharpened, as though he was listening not only to her words but also to the emotions beneath them. In private circles, some claimed that Ken has admired her for years, that their paths had crossed before, and that the bond between them was more than coincidental. Whether friendship, flirtation, or something unspoken, there was undeniably a connection that night which could not be ignored. To understand why this revelation matters so much to fans, one must consider the culture of celebrity around Yaman. His supporters are fiercely protective, emotionally invested in his life as though he were a close friend rather than a distant figure on a screen. They dissect every interview, analyze every photo, and debate endlessly on social media about who might hold his heart. For them, the idea that a world-famous star secretly loved Ken feels both validating and electrifying. It confirms what they've always believed, that Ken is not only talented and handsome but also magnetic enough to capture the heart of someone equally iconic. The implications extend beyond romance. If Ken were to openly pursue this connection, it could shift the trajectory of his career. A relationship with a global star would place him firmly at the center of international media attention, potentially opening doors in Hollywood, in global streaming projects, or in high-profile collaborations. It would elevate his already impressive status into something monumental, bridging cultures and industries in a way few others have managed. On the other hand, it could also bring challenges, scrutiny, jealousy, and the kind of relentless attention that strains even the strongest bonds. In the aftermath of the gala, gossip columns exploded with speculation. Some outlets claimed insider sources had confirmed the affection, while others dismissed it as wishful thinking blown out of proportion by hungry paparazzi. Fans debated fiercely online, sharing clips and photos from the night, circling moments and videos where the supposed spark was visible. Memes spread, hashtags trended, and the mystery deepened. Who exactly was the star in love with Ken? How long had she felt this way? And most importantly, would Ken respond to her feelings, or keep the world guessing? While answers remain elusive, what is clear is that this story has added a new chapter to the legend of Yaman. His life continues to blur the line between fiction and reality, between the characters he portrays and the man he is. The idea of a hidden romance, a secret love unveiled under the bright lights of a gala, feels almost like a scene from one of his dramas. And perhaps that's why it resonates so deeply. It feeds into the fantasy that surrounds him, a fantasy that is at once glamorous, emotional, and irresistibly human. As fans wait for confirmation, one thing is certain. The allure of Yaman shows no signs of fading. If anything, stories like this strengthen his mystique, keeping him firmly in the spotlight while the world speculates about his heart. Whether or not the whispers are true, the mere possibility of such a romance has set imaginations ablaze. And in the world of celebrity, sometimes the power of suggestion is more potent than the truth itself. Yet behind the cameras, beyond the headlines, one can't help but wonder about the quiet moments. When the gala ended and the crowds dispersed, did she send him a message? Did he think of her as he returned home? Was there a moment, unseen by the world, where words were exchanged that could change the course of their lives? These are the questions that linger, questions that fans may never have the answers to but will continue to ask as long as Yaman remains who he is, a star whose heart, like his career, belongs not just to himself but to the millions who follow his every move. In the end, whether this story blossoms into a confirmed romance or fades into the fog of rumor, it has already achieved something powerful. It has captivated the imagination of people around the globe. And perhaps that is the true essence of stardom, not only to perform on screen but to inspire dreams, fantasies, and stories in the minds of those who watch. Yaman, once again, has done exactly that.